Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arundel.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Sydney.
How are you?
I'm good. I sound better than you, and
You
I don't
sound
even
way
sound
better
that
than
great.
I know. Apologies.
It's that
this
season.
Week is that season. My son is sick, so all of us get sick.
Everybody gets it. Just pass it around a
I
little
know,
bit.
and I think I sound worse than I feel,
Yeah.
truthfully.
That's okay.
But it's okay. We'll have some nice low voices
Yes.
for this
Alto.
episode.
Yes. Let's
Oh,
hear it.
so you've had some frustrations.
Oh, I have. This is so funny because I had some stuff that I just need to get rid of, and it was I donate a lot of stuff, but it was like, maybe I can sell some of this and
Yeah,
get
it was
money
like
back.
tech stuff.
and
Yeah.
Get some other stuff. It was some tech stuff, some games, and some decent things. And so I put it out there on, I don't know, the garage sale thing
Facebook
in our
Marketplace.
neighborhood, and then also Marketplace.
Okay.
And I start getting all these replies. Is it still available? Yes.
Nothing.
Silence. Would you take a trade? No. Silence. Would you meet me halfway? Because they were a little further out into San Antonio. Yes.
Nothing.
Silence.
Oh my God.
It was like tons of getting all these notifications, and finally I was like, and somebody
Can't
from
handle it
2
anymore.
hours away was interested, and I thought, that's really not a bargain if you're going to be driving.
Yeah, I know.
And then I guess they didn't look at the neighborhood that, I had
Yeah,
placed
that you were
on there,
in.
and it was like, so
Oh
anyway,
my
I thought
gosh.
that was a bust.
That's awful.
So I just ended up donating everything.
Yeah. Not everything. You got some money.
I got a little bit. I did. I got the games at GameStop or whatever.
But and it's like,
but it was just interesting because I've never, whenever I've found stuff on there, if I ask if it's still available, I'm
care.
interested. I'm after it.
Yeah.
And
That's
so I
not the
don't
case.
know. Maybe it's just a game, or maybe then they go, "Oh, you were that far. Never mind." I don't know. It's just
so
really funny
weird.
though. But it was.
it's
what you
frustrating.
get.
I know.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there has better suggestions for where to sell stuff, I mentioned eBay, but you didn't want to ship anything.
Well, then you'd be shipping, and it wasn't that expensive of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So if there are better ways to sell things, please.
So I don't know. Yeah, not
I'd
my
like to
forte.
know.
I guess I'm not in.
I know, because it's harder. It's not like they were closed or anything, because those would be easy to ship out,
Yeah,
But like,
it was just
no.
yeah.
Facebook.
So anyway,
Marketplace.
but
I've
yeah,
gotten a
that was
few
a new
things off
experience.
Marketplace, and
Well,
I've
I have
really
too.
only sold stuff like maybe once, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had better
is
luck in
annoying.
the past, but I had some furniture stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all taken care of.
That's
I
good.
feel like I have cleansed some
of the
my
house.
stuff, and because you just
You're
need
very
space.
into that.
I
Yes.
know. I really am.
You're very into
to a
that.
fault, I do believe.
Okay, so we are into November. So this month is all about kind of themes on holidays, what's hard about them, family boundaries, what to do for yourself, like kind of just helping you prepare for the craziness of the holiday season.
Yeah, because you think of November and December, there's a lot of different type of holidays going on across the religions, as well as
Secular stuff,
stuff going on, and it just starts with Halloween, and then we just go, and there's ways to care for ourselves, and that's what we're going to be looking at.
So whenever I was like, I know what, so this episode is holiday self-care. So it's like, I know what self-care is. I'm like, let me just see online. There are so many freaking articles out there about holiday time self-care, like specifically for the holidays. Is crazy.
There are.
Crazy. And so I went and I was like, what is Oxford Language Dictionary definition of self-care? It's in there. So it says the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress.
There we go.
So there you go, holiday time, stress.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my little intro into holiday self-care.
Yeah. I love the active role.
Yeah. It's intentional.
Because sometimes we can get into the mode of, oh, this is all coming at me, and I just am gonna. I just have
Just
to take
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we don't.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do you want to dive into like kind of what that looks like, what you may face during the holidays that you need some self-care
and according
from?
to studies, that there's a study out that shows that 38% of the people say that their stress and anxiety, depression is all amped up during the holiday time.
I bet so. Yeah.
And these are people that don't start with depression, right?
Yeah.
It's not talking about that. And, this can lead to physical effects, self-care, not self-care, self-medicating.
Oh, yeah.
To get us through this time.
Coping.
Coping that way. And there's just many pressures coming at us right at this time. And I think one of the main things I think about is we have images of holidays.
Yes. And they look so perfect.
Put upon us, a lot of them. They're supposed to be this picture perfect. They're supposed to be this. And that alone
puts pressure. Yeah.
And so I think there's this awareness that I have begun to find is to go, well, this is this year. What is this going to be like?
What is this year going to be like?
And not expectations, but going, this is my reality this year. I can remember this was years ago, the first time that, because, as families grow, children get married or other things occur, and not everybody's going to be there.
Yeah.
They're going to be with this other family. They're going to be here. Or you have more coming in. Just depends.
Yeah.
But I can remember the first year that
I wasn't
weren't
there
coming home, and my parents weren't going to be around.
Yeah.
They were doing something. And so we looked around and said, what are we going to do different?
Yeah, because it can't be the same.
And it was at Thanksgiving, and we went out to eat. And by golly, I loved it. And it was like, this is a great tradition because I don't have to clean. I don't have to cook because cooking's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I will do
and you don't have
it,
quite so many leftovers to deal with.
And it was just, so we started, and it was like, well, this is new.
Yeah.
We made it different. We had a great time.
Yeah.
We incorporated some other things into it and went down by the river walk, and it was just really a pleasant time. And so that really started me on going, okay, so traditions can change.
Yes, I think that's a big news. People think traditions have to always be the same. And some it's nice. Always nice to try and keep, but life circumstances.
Right. And we're going to get into traditions.
Yes, in another episode. Yeah.
But I think just that
But that puts pressure. Traditions can put pressure.
And the awareness of, well, things occurred this year that are different for us. Mm-hmm. So I can't expect the same thing every year. Yeah. And, so anyway, that's to start out.
It. Okay, so I think when it comes to holiday stuff, so traditions, things, I think going into it knowing like what your boundaries are. And boundaries, I've learned over the past several months, they're not something that you put on other people. You don't tell other people, like, well, you just can't do this. No, boundaries are for yourself. They're like, what am I going to put up with? What am I going to, say that I can handle, and what am I not? And if somebody starts pushing you in a way that you just don't want to handle, you don't want to deal with, then you can remove yourself and say, this is my boundary. I'm going to go take, 5 minutes. Yes. So I think that's something, especially with family, if, you don't have as great of a relationship, but you're still around them, it can be something, if they start to talk about a certain subject or they talk to you in a certain way, I know family makes it even harder, but if you know ahead of time what your boundaries are going to be, just leave the room for 5 minutes and then come back, make some sort, like putting up and they can be also boundaries around friends, boundaries around what you're going to do and not going to do, holiday wise and event wise, just like what are your boundaries for this season to protect yourself?
And I think about that, and we can think about, because the time of year, financial boundaries.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Finances put a huge strain.
Yes.
And expectations of what you're going to spend, what you're not, and to go, this is what
I can do.
And the big question to ask is, what do I want this season to be?
Yeah.
What do I want? It sounds selfish, but it truly is not. What do I want to be able to spend within my limits and not have debt. Okay, how am I going to do that? That's a boundary.
That is.
Attending events. Last year I attended too many and I was really bummed. It just wore me out. What is my energy level this year? How do I want to interact?
Yeah.
What do I need? Do I like decorating? How much do I want to decorate? This year, it's going to be minimal. Or maybe I feel like going all out. So,
it can change.
It can change. Baking, all that. We have baking traditions. And sometimes they go longer, sometimes they're shorter. It just depends, right? So
for sure.
That.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of years and years ago when Paul and I first got married and we were going back to my parents' house for the first time.
Okay.
And I needed to set some boundaries with my dad because his tone and how he...
You don't like... You just didn't like...
He didn't like, you're emotional. And I didn't like the way he spoke to me at times. When he'd get upset. And he wasn't
not angry, but
he was just like, oh, talk down. And so I told Paul, I said, you can stay out with Mom. I'm going to go have a conversation. Paul was like, golly, it's a holiday, really? I'm like, that's the time you got it? So I went back. My dad and I, my dad is so open-minded.
He is.
I went back and I said, Dad, used to think emotions were bad. And I said, and you used to kind of put me down for if I'd cry or if I'd do whatever and be too happy even. And it was like, and I can't have you talk that way in front of my husband.
Yep.
That's not how I will be spoken to anymore. And he looked at me after I was done. I had it all written down so I'd sound very logical. He looked at me and goes, I was really wrong about that.
Oh.
And I'm sorry that I did that. And he has never spoken to me in that way again. And he was just coming from a different place of stress when he was, his work
as and provider,
who he was growing, what he was brought up.
Yeah.
But for him to be able to do that and say that and change, it was like I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to at least say it. So then, if he did speak to me that way, I could say, "Dad, that doesn't work."
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like,
and it was not anger. There was no anger. I wasn't mad at him. I just thought I don't want to be spoken to.
No, and I think that's like good to tell other people what your expectations are, especially if there's already a history there of them, doing, and then giving them a chance. It's like, okay, well, I've told you my expectations. Right. It's like going forward, this is what I expect. For myself,
Right.
And that can give hope to other people that if they talk to their family, maybe they'll be like that.
And, there's so many things, overstimulation, right? You hear about that a lot. To be able to say to your family, if it gets too much, I'm going to go back in the bedroom for a few minutes.
Yes. Reset.
And reset. Or maybe I'm going to step outside, take a walk to reset. Just to let people know.
Yes, because it can be,
Otherwise, they're going, well, look, she just walked off.
Yes.
And it's not.
Because sometimes it can be a lot of talking, a lot of noise, a lot of people. It can be a lot.
Yeah.
So I like that better. And if you need help with that type of a conversation, we had in September 2 episodes on crucial conversations that can help with that. Yeah. And then, so I think part of the boundaries, because I also wrote down saying no. Yeah. And so you can say, if people invite you to an event, it's okay to say no to stuff. It's not like they're never going to talk to you again, Right. And so I think that's part of our boundaries is just like knowing when to say no. It's like, I've had enough.
That can be hard.
Can be.
Until you get used to it.
Yeah, I know, right? Until
even then it still can be difficult.
And then I put, my next thing was you can get a gift for yourself. Yeah. Other people get gifts for you, but it may not really be what you want. So get something for you. Right. That's self-care. And then, so kind of taking from the definition that self-care is an active role in protecting your well-being. So I put down like purposeful downtime and being present. So like, you like literally scheduling in time where you're, even if it's short, doesn't matter. Maybe you'll do a quick meditation. Maybe you'll just sit there and be in silence, which can be amazing. Maybe I really want to read this book. It calms me down. I'm going to do that. Like purposeful downtime and then being present. So you can be present in your downtime. You can be present. Like if you're in the middle of a holiday event or doing a holiday thing with your family, like put down your phone from taking pictures for a sec and just like look around you and interact with the people. They're like right in front of you, I feel like. And don't think about what you're running to next. It's like, what are you doing then?
What am I doing now? Just being present. And that's true. I think it's easy to get caught up in things, and especially, well, with friends too, but with family. Okay, this is what they're going to do, and we already are down before we ever enter.
Yes.
Rather than going, you know what? That's who they are. Kacey Musgraves has a fantastic.
It's a good song.
It's one of my favorite songs. It's listen to it because I'm not going to sing it, but it's really hard not to sing. The refrain is family in church or in prison. You get what you get, you don't get to pick 'em. They might smoke like chimneys, but give you their kidneys. Yeah, friends come in handy, but family is family. And it talks about how they're there through your good times and your bad times, and they have too much wicker and drink too much liquor, but you can't live without them. Anyway, it's
a good song.
It's a good song that reminds us, family is family.
Yeah.
And we also don't have to put ourselves in harm's way with them.
No,
either.
You don't.
There are some that
really are toxic.
Toxic, and we need to know the difference, and know that we're taking care of ourselves.
Yep.
And get that support that we need.
Yeah, and I think part of that is like, if you can prepare, like ahead of time, prepare early, like schedule it, like looking at your schedule, thinking, when can I have my downtime? Looking at your schedule, thinking, okay, maybe for my family, I don't schedule 3 events in one day. Yes. I pick one.
Yeah.
And then know that I can be present in it and be there and prepare early for like, okay, I know I'm going to see this family member, and really I need to make sure we don't hit this topic together. And because I feel like there are people like that, man, I love them otherwise, but I just know I can't go over to this topic or else we will not agree and it'll just be bad. And so I think you can just prepare, how am I going to interact with these people? Think ahead of time just a little bit.
Look for the common thread.
Yes.
Look for the common thread. You know what they like.
Yeah.
You know what they, so I just avoid those.
Think ahead of time. How am I going to get out of this? If it starts to come up, what am I going to talk about instead? Just like, I think if you just give it a little more thought, and then you won't feel so off guard.
Right. Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. And a lot of my things just have to do with making choices for you. And it sounds so selfish, especially over the holidays. It sounds selfish. You're like, well, I'm doing things for everybody else. It's about giving. It's about, being there for others. It's like, but if you're not full, then you can't give anything.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because I'm an introvert.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for extroverts who need the activity.
Yes.
And may not have it, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's places to volunteer, to look out for that. Look for community events because there's a lot of free community events around this time of year that you can go to and interact with people there, and maybe invite somebody with you.
Yep.
Or a couple people, whatever. Because I realize I'm just coming from my introverted
I know,
self,
I am too. I'm thinking,
like, well, that's too many people.
Yes, I'm thinking that's too many events. That's too much. You got to rest.
Yes. But there's this opposite
That's so true.
The depression of being
alone. Yeah.
And not having that interaction. So there are a lot of community events.
That is true.
If you're religious, then there's a variety of types of churches and religious events that you can go to.
Yeah.
And find that. Because I think that's important too.
Yeah,
to
that's
know
true.
that it can be lonely that time of year, this time too.
That's true.
And to look for, there's always Thanksgiving places that help with the homeless and things like that. Turkey trots, if you like to go running or walking, even walking, whichever.
Oh, that's so true. I know I am coming from my introverted sense of like, put up some boundaries.
Yeah. Keep out.
But you're right.
But you need that balance. I think even introverts, we need both of it, introvert or extrovert.
You need both.
Need that balance of, when am I over?
True.
When am I not? When and keep a check on that.
Yeah.
Because we get caught up within ourselves.
Yeah.
And don't do that. The other thing is it's this time of year where food is just out there.
Everywhere.
And as much sweet, I used to, when I worked in the church, people
that'd
would
be
bring
awful.
so much.
I bet.
And you felt obligated.
Yeah, because you didn't want to seem rude.
And then you don't
feel good.
And then I don't, after so many cookies and sweets and stuff, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
So it's again, finding that
The
balance
boundary.
of what am I going to eat?
Yes.
How much do I need to eat?
Yes.
How much, and
yeah,
because that plays into it. And alcohol.
Yeah,
because
that
we're
too.
at a lot of parties, a lot of stuff going on, and how that may make you feel.
Yeah. And I think that's like, I'm just someone that prepares. It's like, prepare early. Think about what you're going to encounter. You know, you don't have to eat the whole cookie if you don't want to. Have a bite. So then use, if you feel like you need to be nice.
Right.
But you don't have to eat all of it. And if they're offended by that, then they have other problems.
Yeah. And so, or skip the turkey and eat the pumpkin pie.
Instead.
I don't know. I just say eat dessert first.
Eat dessert first.
But,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is funny.
There's just a lot of stuff that goes on the next couple of months.
Yeah. And then if you have the time, you can always schedule a day for you. Yes. Just have a day. I'm trying to think. What would my holiday self-care be? I feel like I don't really do it. I feel like for me, if I can take like a half day to like either watch a show I want or watch a holiday movie, something like that. And then I do like, if I can take an evening to do like a face mask or, a bath, something like that to recharge. Yeah.
To recharge, right. Mm-hmm. You like lattes and stuff, like chai latte. You tried that.
Love
you said the other day you tried making it, and that was good.
That was good.
Yeah, that's a self-care thing.
Yeah.
That's
just
doing
true.
something for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. My self-care is making sure I get out and do my morning walk.
Or run.
Really.
Yes.
Run, jog, whatever it is I happen to do that day.
Yeah.
And that just
start your
helps
day.
me for my day.
Yeah.
It really does. So if I can keep some kind of rhythm with that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is holidays.
Self-care.
Holidays throw off your routine so much. Yes. So you do need, it would be important to look at your routine. Think, what is essential for me? Mm-hmm. If it's getting up and working out, then I've done that Thanksgiving Day. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to work out and have a good day. And so it's like, if there are parts of your routine that are essential, then as much as you can, try and keep to it, Yeah.
And again, check into where you are this year.
Yeah.
What do I want? There are some years where I cannot even get close to any sentimental movie.
Yeah.
The commercials are too much.
Ugh.
And there are other years where I just can't wait to start the Christmas music and
and
whatever else music, all that. And so I just to check in to go, what does this year? What do I want?
Yeah.
And what do I need?
Yes.
And then go from there. And sometimes there are obligations we can't ignore when you've got kids that you've got to show up to their events and you have to do those things.
Yes.
And that's all part of it. But again, there's this, what do I want?
Yeah.
How are we going to play into this?
Mm-hmm.
What if things are going to be different, what am I going to do for me?
Yeah.
What am I going to do to care for myself? Because somehow when we care for ourselves, we are kinder and gentler to others as well.
I like it. That's so good.
Yeah.
Love it.
And it is kind of the Buddhist philosophy, I think, is that we inflict pain on ourselves when we look at, it should be this. Why isn't it that? When we, it used to be, this is now.
Yes.
This is today.
Yeah.
What is today? Mm-hmm. Because if we look back and wish for, we're just,
it's just painful. Yeah.
And not that we can't look back and miss people and things. And go, that was great. Mm-hmm. I love that Christmas.
Yeah.
And this is this Christmas. So wonder what surprises or Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or
Kwanzaa,
any
whatever.
Kwanzaa, wonder what this is going to hold for me.
Yeah.
Wonder what this one will be.
I like it.
Yeah. There's
I'm
going to read by John O'Donohue. It's in a book called To Bless This Space Between Us. And he has this little poem I'm going to read called, it's Blessings, actually.
Okay.
And this is for celebration. Now is the time to free the heart Let all intentions and worries stop. Free the joy inside the self. Awaken to the wonder of your life. Open your eyes and see the friends whose hearts recognize your face as kin. Those whose kindness, watchful and near, encourages you to live everything here. See the gifts the years have given, things your effort could not earn. The health to enjoy who you want to be, and the mind to mirror mystery.
I like it.
Yeah, it's freeing our hearts of the worries and just, this is today.
This is today. Mm-hmm.
And we all have sorrows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And somehow the sorrows and the joys are intermingled.
Yeah.
And there's the mystery for me.
Yeah.
That it's both.
Oh, such a good poem. We hadn't had that in a bit.
Yeah. I know.
Yes. So if you guys want to tell us some of your self-care routines, it'd be great. You can comment on our Instagram posts or email us or go to our Patreon page, whatever works for you. And we will kind of continue with our holiday kind of prepping for it theme. I don't know which episode's going to be next, but we'll figure it out. But it'll stay with our holiday kind of boundaries, family, traditions. How do you handle it? Helping you prep your mental health and your mindfulness for the holidays.
Yeah, and then we've got some fun coming up. We'll probably talk about music and movies and some fun stuff at the end of the month.
Yeah.
As we look toward the new year. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, we look forward to next Tuesday when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.